Hi, it's Bernadette Jansen, and I want to welcome you this evening to this webinar. It's the first in a series of six sessions, which are in response to a request I sent out in our newsletter asking what you would like to know about renovating. And what we've done is put together a short six-session mini-series on covering the key issues around making money from renovating. They will be quite direct and to the point and fairly time efficient, but covering the key issues. So thank you for being on this call. Before I go on, I just want to give you a bit of a rundown on what we'll be covering each evening. I'll just skip week one for a minute and go to week two, and we'll be covering identifying researching an area to renovate in and crafting your renovation blueprint. Week three, we'll be finding a property with the right things wrong with it and ways to add value to it. Week four, feasibility analysis, preparing a budget and negotiating the purchase. Week five will be plans, approvals, tendering and getting the renovation underway. And week six will be completing the renovation and marketing your property for maximum price. Okay, so it's week one today, and we're going to be firstly talking about the big why, the motivation, what has you inspired to renovate and make money from it. The second one is the planning, preliminaries to actually getting established as a renovator. And the third is the anatomy of a renovation, really understanding the economics of renovating. Okay, so the big why. A lot of people ask me, how do you get the courage to actually go out there and take the leap, find a property and do what you do? And I have to say, I think it's scarier not doing anything. I'm going to show you some statistics that I think are very motivating, and I'll go through them quickly. And I'm sorry if this is a bit depressing, but the good news is there's a solution. So in 20 years, the average weekly earnings will be almost double what they are today to just under $3,000 a week. Now, the source of these statistics are included on the slide below, so if you want to follow up, just check out that link. Sorry, back for a minute. So if we're thinking about planning for our retirement, we need to be taking into account inflation, because if you're doing your calculations on your current earnings, then it's just not going to cut it. So if you're calculating how much, say you want to retire on, the equivalent to $50,000 a year, and you're calculating it in today's terms, you actually need to be saving for an income of $100,000 a year, because that will have the same buying power as $50,000 does now. So the other statistic is that at the moment there are 5 people for every retired person working. And in 20 years, in 2033, that number will drop to 3. So the odds of the age pension being available in 2033 to the general population is slim, if not non-existent. So we need to take control of our own futures. And then this is the last scary statistic, that a man will have a superannuation, well, this is an average man, will have a superannuation payout of around $110,000 at the moment, and a life expectancy of around 86 years. And we women have the grand total of the average of 37,000 and have a life expectancy of 89 years. So while we'll live a lot longer, we will be doing it on less. I certainly made the decision that I needed to do something pretty drastic and make sure that I was going to be spending my latter years not living below the poverty line like the majority of my generation will be. Okay, so this is my approach. Now, I sold a business about 4 years ago, almost, And up until then, I'd been renovating as a hobby for around 20 years. It started when my kids were little. I was at home looking after the four of them. But once I decided I needed to do something about my retirement savings, I took a different view on renovating and really looked at how I could ramp it up so that my results were more predictable and to minimise the risk as well. Because once you get to your 40s or 50s, you've actually accrued a bit along the way and you don't want to lose it. Not that you ever want to lose money, but you certainly become more aware of it at that point in your life. So what I did was I knew that we would be downsizing in the next few years. So initially I renovated our own home. I took it from a $900,000 home to a $1.3 million home with a $200,000 spend. That was the value based on valuation, but I do actually have it on the market at the moment, so hopefully I'll have some more concrete figures shortly. I then bought an investment property in the area I wanted to downsize to and spent $140,000 on the renovation and about $60,000 on fees, unavoidable, but you've got to do it, and produced an increased rental of around $600 a week. When we bought it, it was returning $1,200 a week, and which I thought was amazing because it was basically unlivable. But we increased that to $1,800 a week by doing a predominantly cosmetic renovation. The next thing I did was buy a house to make cash, and it was just around the corner from our house. You can see it in the picture here. I did a 6-month renovation on that property. I engaged a builder to do all the work and took a month to sell it and made a profit of $172,000. So when you look at it in terms of what the average person takes in superannuation in a lifetime, it's streets ahead. So this is a very effective way of catering for a comfortable retirement and something that I love to share. So now, if you're going to drastically improve your financial situation, you're going to need to be organised. And I apologise if I'm telling you how to suck eggs, but I need to be sure that everyone's on the same page. Benjamin Franklin was a very wise man, and he once said that by failing to plan, that you are planning to fail. And I think this is a really valuable statement to live by. So in your planning, you've got two main objectives: to minimise the risk and to maximise the profit. So there is absolutely no point in putting your heart and soul into renovating a project if you're going to overspend and not make a profit, or make a profit and pay it all in tax. I don't advertise tax evasion, but there are legal ways to minimise your tax. And the place to find that out is by going to an accountant that specialises in properties and is able to advise you. There are something like 9 taxes that relate to renovating, and there are always ways to minimise them. They start with the legal entity you buy your property in, and that will depend a lot on your circumstances. Some people work under a company, some work with self-managed super funds, and a taxation accountant, also a financial planner, will help you with that. You also need specialised legal advice. It's always important to get someone that specialises in property in whatever consultant you are requiring, because generalists tend to think that it's too risky. They don't understand property. Also, if you're getting a general accountant to actually advise you on this, you'll pay for that person to get up to date with the taxation laws and such. Taxation law is complicated and time consuming. And if you go to a specialised property accountant, you'll find that they'll be dealing with this on a daily basis and will be pretty well up to speed all the time.